it's Sarah here. How are you doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day. We are going to be talking about martyrdom consciousness today. So if you take a person and they've had a normal upbringing, a good childhood, haven't been through any traumatic experiences, no abuse, anything like that, they have what's called consciousness in which they are thriving. And this is a balanced consciousness, and it's the best one for learning and spiritual growth and for thriving in all areas of your life. But if you had a hard childhood, if you had some kind of abuse, or you've been through a traumatic experience, you develop coping mechanisms, especially as a child, because you just don't have that life experience and you can't process what's happened to you or what's happening to you. So we develop these coping mechanisms, and that means our consciousness can change from thriving to something else. Now, the most common ones are survival consciousness, and that's basically where we're just about thriving rather than thriving. So many things keep happening to you and you're hanging on by a thread, and you're just about coping. There's victim consciousness, which is where you blame everything that happens to you on somebody else. There is martyrdom consciousness, which is what we're going to be talking about today. And martyrdom consciousness is basically where you choose suffering. You choose suffering consciously or unconsciously. And the last one, common one, is rescuer consciousness, which is where you have this deep desire, this deep need to rescue, whether it be other people or animals, etc., or maybe buildings or something. Okay, so victim consciousness and martyrdom consciousness are very similar. So if this video resonates with you, I would also recommend watching the Facebook video I have made on victim consciousness, because that might help you too. So as I said, basically martyrdom consciousness is where you consciously or unconsciously choose to suffer, or you choose persecution because basically you don't feel worthy or you don't feel enough. Fortunately, if you look back in the Bible and you look back in history, there have been saints that are martyrs, people that have died for religious reasons. And fortunately, this is pretty rare now, but there are lots of people who still sacrifice their happiness and their freedom of choice. And often they're not aware of it, because when it's something that we do over and over again and it's so ingrained, it becomes a habit. So many people have this martyrdom consciousness, but actually they're not aware of it. So what symptoms are you likely to have if you have martyrdom consciousness? Well, the first one is you put other people's needs first. Okay, so there might be something you need to do, but if somebody asks you, you'll just put your need to the background and you'll do what somebody else needs doing first. You don't go out because you need to look after somebody else's children, that kind of thing. You might put other people's needs first because you feel responsible for their soul growth or for their happiness. You may stay in relationships or in a job even though you don't like them and you're not happy. You might have an overload of work, but you keep saying yes and you keep taking it on and you don't let people help you. But then quite often you might end up complaining about it. You might be playing a role of being a hero or a saint. You might enjoy playing the role of being a hero and a saint, of being wanted in that way. You may feel exhausted or really stressed or have burnout. Basically it's because you're overworking and you've got all this overload. You may have low self-esteem and you might find it hard to accept love or compliments. Okay, if we have a belief that we're not lovable, we will push love away because that is our belief. And if we have a belief that we're not worthy and deserving, we'll push compliments away because we don't feel worthy and deserving of them. You might have a hard time saying no. So you'll say yes to somebody. This is like putting other people's needs first. You'll say yes to people when they ask you to do something, but then you'll end up feeling resentful and bitter about it, but you'll just keep carrying on doing it. You may have a mistrust of others, so you end up over-analyzing what somebody's done or what people are saying to you, just to keep yourself safe because you don't trust them. And that goes with people who have been abused particularly. You like blaming others because you like making them feel guilty. You suffer if others are suffering. You may love sympathy, so you love telling your story, and this is very common with victim consciousness too. You have your story and you like the sympathy, so you tell your story over and over again. You may use it as a way to achieve fame. You might be frightened of responsibility, frightened of doing your own healing, of looking within yourself, so you choose this way just to avoid it, just by blaming others. So there are quite a few symptoms there of martyrdom consciousness, and as I say, a lot of them are in common with victim consciousness and some with survivor consciousness and also being rescuer. They kind of intermingle a wee bit. So what are the main reasons that you may develop martyrdom consciousness? Well, as I said right at the beginning, it's a coping mechanism from some kind of abuse or traumatic experience you've been through. Maybe you had a really hard childhood, that kind of thing. You couldn't process it, so you evolved strategies to cope. You might have a belief that you are bad or that you are not enough, so you don't feel worthy of having an easy life. Now, we develop most of our beliefs about ourselves before the age of 7. And before the age of 7, we just don't have that life experience to understand if it's somebody else's stuff or whether it's something we've done. So maybe your parents were stressed out when you were a young child, maybe about money or at work or something like that. And, they didn't have time to pay you much attention, or they were hard on you. At the age of 3 or 4, you're not going to think, okay, mum and dad are stressed out about work because they don't have enough money. You're going to think, okay, there's something wrong with me. It's something I've done. I'm bad. I'm not enough. I'm not worthy of love. Those kind of things. And then you take it on as a belief. And then you're stuck with that belief until you overwrite it. You may have some unforgiveness towards yourself. This can come from other lives, and you've brought it forward to clear in this one. It might be something that you feel you've done in this lifetime, whether it's something that you think you're blaming others for, so you have unforgiveness towards somebody else, or you think it's something that's your fault, so you're blaming yourself and not forgiving yourself. But one of the best gifts you can give yourself is forgiveness. If you don't forgive yourself, or you don't forgive others, you'll keep yourself stuck and keep yourself in bondage, tied down with these other people. It's like tying yourself down in shackles, and you end up reincarnating over and over again, playing a similar scenario until you learn to forgive. So forgiveness is one of the best gifts you can give yourself, and there is a talk on my Facebook page about forgiveness. So if you haven't, then I really recommend watching that. There is something called survivor's condition. Now, this is where you have been in an accident or maybe a natural disaster, and you have survived and others haven't. You can't understand why others survived and why you survived and others didn't. And you end up in this pattern of self-punishment in a way to self-heal because you have a lot of guilt about it. So it is a particular condition for those who have been through an experience where others have died and they haven't. It may be from a vow or oath you've taken in a previous lifetime or in this one. You may have taken a vow or oath of poverty, so you find it really hard to have any money, of chastity, so you find it hard to have a sexual relationship. There's one in particular called the Bodhisattva vow, which is taken by Buddhists as a way to enlightenment, but actually it is a path to suffering. It may be something you may have taken it in a previous lifetime or in this lifetime. Now, there is another thing on my Facebook page about clearing these vows and oaths, but really you have to know that all limits, that you are limitless, and any limits from these vows and oaths are ones that you believe in, ones that are in your mind. So know yourself as limitless, and know that there is no vow or oath that can limit you is one of the first steps to setting yourself free from those. It could be you had no attention as a child, so you have a deep desire to be seen and acknowledged. And this just might be the best way you found to be seen and be acknowledged. It may be just through a lack of wisdom. Maybe your parents had martyrdom consciousness, so you're just following on from what your parents did because you don't know any better. It may be due to emotions such as unworthiness, undeserving, guilt, or shame. Now, what happens if we feel an emotion over and over again, or we feel it really strongly, it can become stuck emotional energy in our body and in our energy field. And when it's stuck in our body or energy field, we can feel it, and it will influence how we respond to situations and how we feel about ourselves. So it might possibly be due to having any of these 4 emotions stuck in our body and stuck in our energy field. It may be a cultural thing. It may be you live in a culture where women, if you're a woman, women have to stay at home and look after the kids, and they're not supposed to go out or allowed to go out and have a fulfilling career or that sort of thing. It may be that men, if you're a man, it may be in your culture that you have to that you're responsible for looking after the village or something like that. Okay, so it might be a cultural reason why you have martyrdom consciousness. So how to heal yourself from this consciousness, because it really is toxic to your ascension. Okay, you're not going to ascend very much in this lifetime if you have martyrdom consciousness and you're always putting everybody else first. So the first step is understanding how beliefs work. Okay, so when you have a thought or a mental image, which is something you imagine, over and over again, it then becomes a belief. And we store beliefs in our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind has the role of keeping us safe. So our subconscious mind is constantly flicking through our belief system, and it processes millions of bits of data per second, seriously fast. And when it finds a belief it thinks is going to put us in danger, it will red flag us, and it will start to play it over and over again as a mind tape. Consciously you can't hear it, subconsciously it's playing over and over again. What can hear it is your body. Now your body has its own consciousness and awareness, and you can kind of think of it as a continuation of your subconscious mind. Neither your subconscious mind nor your body can tell the difference between what is true and what is not. They simply go with what data you have put in it. Okay, so if you have a thought that's not true and you think it over and over again, it's still going to become a belief, whether it's true or not. So your body can hear this belief going over and over again. Your body fears being hurt. Your body fears being rejected, being abandoned. And that is an innate fear of your body, because if you were rejected or hurt or abandoned as a young child, then you would likely die. Okay? As an adult, it's okay if somebody rejects you, because you can look after yourself. You know, you can go out and feed yourself. You're not relying on somebody to feed you, that kind of thing. But as a child, you might well die, and your body has this fear of rejection and abandonment. So when this belief is playing, your body, let's say a belief I'm not enough, your body fears fear, because it doesn't fear it is enough. And what happens then? Your body feels the fear and your ego picks up on this fear. Now, your ego is your personality self. There is a part of your ego called your id, which is responsible for your safety. So it's responsible for things like your food and water and procreation, that kind of thing. And what happens is then your ego is trying to keep you safe. So your ego will produce feelings such as fear, anxiety, unworthiness, undeserving, guilt and shame to keep you small and keep you stuck, to avoid you being seen and being out there in the big wide world in an attempt to keep you safe. Let's take an example. Say somebody at school told you you were ugly and you didn't know any better, so you thought about this quite a lot and it became a belief and you forgot about it. Okay, you grew up and forgot about it. But say you're going out on somebody's asked you out and you're going on your first date, and so your mind's flicking through this belief system and it comes across this belief, I am ugly. Your body hears this belief, I am ugly, and thinks, oh, okay, if I'm ugly, then I might be rejected or abandoned by my date. Therefore, I'm going to feel fear. Your ego picks up on this fear and then starts playing these emotions of unworthiness, undeserving, maybe shame, fear, anxiety, which you then feel. Now you feel these emotions from your ego and you buy into them thinking they're yours and thinking they are real, but actually they're not. They are not yours, they're your ego's, and you are not your ego. You are not your personality. Okay, so they are your ego's emotions, and they are a construct of your ego mind. They're not real. You are perfectly safe to go on this date, aren't you? You're not going to be hurt. If they don't like you, well then that's not a problem. But your ego has constructed all these feelings, and so what happens is you end up not going on the date because you're being bombarded by these feelings of unworthiness and undeserving and guilt and shame and fear, whatever. Okay, so that's how your belief system works, and you need to understand that. So number 2 is awareness. Now, it's hard to change yourself if you have no idea what's going on. You know, we randomly have these thoughts and we just discount them and we just carry on our day. So you need to, for a few weeks at least, carry around a notebook and be really aware of what you're thinking and what you're feeling. Then you can use these thoughts and feelings to work out what your belief systems are, and you can change your beliefs. Okay, so be aware of your thoughts. What are you thinking? Are you always thinking in a positive way or in a negative way? Are you an optimist? Are you a pessimist? Do you think things like, I'm not enough, I can't do this, it's too hard? How do you talk to yourself? Are you nice to yourself? Are you really mean to yourself? Are you always putting yourself down? Notice your emotions. What triggered what emotion? Was it a memory? Was it a thought you had? Was it an event, something somebody said to you? What triggered off what emotion? And then work out your belief system. So you need to change your belief system and your thought patterns and clear your emotions. Okay, so you can only do this when you're aware of them. So to change your belief, first of all, you need to bring in a new one and then keep singing it, saying it, reading it, hearing it, over and over again, as much as you can for quite a few months. So put it on post-it notes, keep saying it, sing it, put it as a screensaver on your computer, put it as a phone reminder, as many things as you can, okay, to bring in a new belief. If it's your thoughts, so be aware of your thoughts. If you have a thought that's not empowering, you can simply say, dear God, please cancel that thought and stop that pathway. And that pathway is, if we have a thought and an emotion, it creates what's called a neural pathway in our brain. And what happens is our brain likes to conserve energy. So once we have a neural pathway which you've used a bit and has become quite strong, it then likes to keep that same neural pathway. So you often have the same emotional response to the same thought because you have hardwired your brain that way. So you're saying, God, please stop that pathway. And then bring in change your thought to a new empowering thought. If it's an emotion you're feeling, so what the first thing you need to do is just take a step back. Okay, I'm feeling this feeling of whatever it is. I know it's not real. It's a construct of my ego mind. So emotions such as love and joy and bliss and peace are real, but anything else are not. Fear is real if your life is in immediate danger, because obviously you need fear to stop yourself going into a burning building or swimming out to sea, something like that. But unless your life is in danger at that particular time, fear is not real. Guilt and shame are not real. They're just judgments you've taken on about yourself, and your ego's created these feelings to stop you being rejected. If it's feelings such as anger, hatred, fury, those kind of emotions, that is a self-defense mechanism. You use those to push people away so they don't get too close to you, so they can't hurt you again. And the same with resentment and bitterness, those kind of emotions. They are unforgiveness towards somebody else because you deem it not safe to forgive them, because if you forgive somebody, you might have a belief that they're going to come back into your life and hurt you again. Now, you're probably not aware of that. You might just be feeling the resentment. But that's actually what's going on. That's the belief that's creating that. So when you feel when you feel an emotion that's not love or joy, simply take a step back. Okay, this emotion's not real. Well, what is it trying to tell me? What can I learn from it? You know, what triggered it off, etc. And then you can simply say, this feeling of, let's say fear, this feeling of fear, I feel it, I honor it, and I let it go with love. It's not me and it's not mine. Angels, please take it away. Okay, and what's going to happen then is, A, you're going to stop it building up in your body and energy field, and B, you will start to release it. And the best time to release emotions is when you can feel them. Okay, so be aware. And you know, once you've started awareness, it might be something that you just continue on forever. It's a really good habit to get into. Okay, you can ask the angels at night just to put their energies through you and around you to start clearing that stuck emotional energy out of your energy body and energy field. It may be you feel a bit of warmth, you feel a bit of tingling, or it may purely be you feel nothing. Sometimes you can feel your arm or leg give a little jolt, and that's just like you walking down the steps in a dream and you miss a step and your leg gives a jolt. It's exactly the same thing. Okay, so you might feel a bit of jolting. One of the best ways to heal yourself is to know your divinity. So this will really help with any feelings of unworthiness. And you are God in human form, okay? You are not this body. Oh, the wind's getting up. You are not this body. You are not your mind. You're not your ego. You are the divine consciousness inside the body. And I have done there's a talk on my Facebook page about knowing your divinity. So you can to know your divinity, you can go deep inside of you. Imagine stepping into your mind and taking a lift or whirlpool down to the center of your chest and feel the love and the peace that's in there. And sometimes you might be able to, if you take a step back, you can feel God's love in there too. And then what you can do is feel that same love outside of you and realize that you are one and the same. You can feel that same love in a tree. Imagine feeling it in a tree or another person or an animal, and realize that you are the same. Another way is to grow yourself so you feel larger in your body, and just keep growing larger and larger until you're infinite. And then when you've done that, you bring your awareness back to your body and ground yourself by putting roots right deep down into the ground. So as you are a divine being, you chose the experiences that you went through for your best chance to learn and grow and heal. You chose your parents, you chose your culture, you chose your body, what you're going to look like, you chose your mental ability, etc., etc. So you chose these experiences for your best chance. The big ones, anyway, the big experiences. But what happens is that when we go through these experiences on earth, we tend to judge them as good or bad, and then we create all these judgments about the experience, and then all these judgments about ourselves, and these judgments about the other people involved in the experiences. And then we set up all these problems with the unforgiveness and the guilt and the shame and the unworthiness, etc. So when you have an experience, try and see it as neutral. Try and see it as, okay, it can be challenging or it can be a pleasant one, but don't label it as good or as bad. It is just an experience, and you chose it before you incarnated. So just kind of let yourself off the hook and let everyone else off the hook too. It was what you needed to go through at the time. Set some boundaries, set some healthy boundaries. So it is not okay to be a doormat. You were here to know yourself as divine. Your ascension means growing it means expanding your awareness and your consciousness and understanding your divinity. So it is not okay for you to be treated as a doormat. So set some healthy boundaries, set some me time, and make sure you maintain them. You may want to tell other people that constantly use you and abuse you in this way why you were doing it, what you were doing, and why you were doing it. And if they are supportive, then great. If they're not supportive, then maybe it's time to let them go. Okay, because you want supportive people in your life. Try and be balanced. So do things for yourself as well. Okay, don't just do things for other people, do things for yourself. If you have a lot of feeling of undeserving, one of the best ways to get through this is to treat yourself often. Now, if you haven't got much money, it hasn't got to be big treats, okay? It could be something small, but just treat yourself and say, I deserve this. Treat your body to a massage and say, I deserve this, okay? Keep telling yourself that you deserve it, because you do. It is your birthright to have ease, peace, love, joy, abundance, and full health and vitality. It is something that you can keep repeating to yourself over and over again. It is my birthright to have ease, peace, love, joy, abundance, full health and vitality. Make that a belief of yours. If it's a cultural reason, maybe you're the first one to break through this culture and do something different for yourself. And maybe you're going to set the precedent, and you're the president and you're the leader, and other people will follow you, and you're giving permission for other people to change as well. So if it's a cultural reason, maybe you're going to be the first one to break free. You can do what's called intend and choose something. Now, we chose the big experiences before we incarnated, but we create the other experiences, everything else we go through from our subconscious mind. We create 95% of everything else we go through from our subconscious mind based on our belief system. We only consciously choose 5% of what we are going to experience. So you can increase that. So you can simply say, with the power of God that I am, I intend, choose, and pray to end the struggle and have ease. Okay, so you can use intending and choosing for anything, but just for this example, you can say to end the struggle and to have ease. And just have to think about it. There might be other things that other good expressions you can use and intend and choose to help you with martyrdom. Use self-praise. So just for a few minutes a day, tell yourself, I am worthy, I am deserving, I am beautiful inside and out, I am God in human form, I am creative, I am enough, I am lovable as I am gifted, I am smart. Okay, just tell yourself these kind of things for a couple of times a day if you can. I would avoid doing the comparing one. So don't say I'm important or I'm special, because then you're kind of comparing and judging yourself against somebody else, and that's going to set up different problems. But just to say that you are enough, you're lovable, you're beautiful, you're gifted, it's really going to help. You can ask friends to point out when you're being a martyr. As I say, it's probably become a habit and you're not even aware of it. So ask your friends to point it out to you and to help you with it. Know that you have always done your best based on your conditioning. That is how you were brought up, based on your wisdom and based on your belief system. Okay, you and everybody else on the planet has always done their best based on those three things. So if you're giving yourself a hard time, let yourself off the hook with that one. You can do some inner child work. So your inner child is that part of you that feels afraid or vulnerable. So if there's been a traumatic experience in your life that you knew about, say age 12, you would imagine yourself age 12. If it's been more than one occasion, you would do this with each different age. If you don't know anything that's happened to you, choose aged around 7. And so let's take a 7-year-old. You're going to sit them on your lap. You are going to treat them like a child that's really hurt. So you're going to kind of, stroke their back and stroke their hair and just say, oh, look, I'm really sorry this has happened to you, but you're safe now. No one's ever going to reject you. I've grown up now. I don't need anyone else to feed me. So you're safe. No one can ever hurt you because I've got your back. You're so worthy and you're so deserving and you really matter. You are significant and I love you just as you are. I really love you and I forgive you. I forgive you for anything, any way you have sabotaged me, and please forgive me for anything I have put you through. Okay? Treat them as a little hurt child, because that's basically that hurt child part of you. And it works really well, because actually what you end up telling this inner child eventually comes back to you as your own small talk. So, and that will really help you. You can use a mind clearing technique, which is where you feel yourself bigger than your body and you look down at your top of your head with love and tenderness, and you say to your mind, okay mind, please release. You could say, please release this feeling of unworthiness or undeserving, whatever it is, or please release this belief of blah blah blah, and you just say it's safe to release this mind and I command this. Now your mind needs to feel safe to let it go. That's why you're coming down bigger than your bodies, knowing your divinity, and you're doing it with love and tenderness. It won't work and if you don't. And it's something that you do need to keep repeating, okay? What you'll find is you just might release a bit of it, so you keep having to repeat it. When you notice yourself in a pattern, take a step back and intend and choose something else. Okay, maybe this might be a pattern of thinking, this might be a pattern of a response, of an emotion you're feeling. It might be you're about to say yes to overload, to more work, yes to looking after somebody's children for the 10th time that week. Take a step back, intend and choose something different. Try not to judge yourself against others. Okay, this comparing and judging keeps people stuck. When you don't judge and compare, it will really start to free you and bring you inner peace. Learn how to create. So conscious creating is creating the life you want to experience. And there's something on my Facebook page about it. But basically it's imagining something you want to happen, feeling excitement and joy about it already happening, visualize it happening, imagine it happening, feeling that love and joy and excitement about it already happening, feeling gratitude for it already being there. In a nutshell, but I would watch the video. Have gratitude for your life, because life is sacred and it's a gift. Have gratitude for anything else in your life. You know, if you can spend a few minutes a day being grateful, it will really raise your vibration, and this lower stuff will start to fall away. So be grateful for whatever nice things you have in your life. Maybe grateful for your bed, or having enough food to eat, or a loving relationship, or whatever it is, but try and feel grateful a couple of times a day. Be grateful for your body, okay? So your body's allowing you to be here. You're the divine consciousness in the body. So thank you, body. Thank you for carrying me around and keeping me safe. Practice self-love, self-compassion, and self-respect. Okay, self-love is huge. It's really important. Again, there's another talk on it on my Facebook page. If you feel yourself being mean to yourself, or not respecting yourself, or not being kind to yourself, try and stop yourself in your tracks. I intend and choose something different. I intend and choose the power of God that I am. I intend and choose and pray to love myself. And one of the ways you can do this, if you can't feel it, one of the ways you can do this is just to feel love outside of you and breathe it in, and breathe it into all parts of your body. You can do that also with kindness and respect. You can breathe in anything to your body. Breathe joy, breathe love, breathe gratitude. If you've got any guilt or shame, breathe in forgiveness. Okay, breathe in forgiveness and take it to any part of your body, to all parts of your body. If you've been through some kind of abuse, send lots of love and forgiveness to those parts of your body, because that's where you store the guilt and shame. I would also go down into your heart center, take that lift or whirlpool from your mind down into your heart center, and look at the back of your heart center, and try and imagine pushing doors open from the back of your heart and releasing. That's where we that's where we place quite a lot of unworthy and undeserving. The front of our heart center is about giving, the back is about receiving. So things like unworthiness and undeserving, we tend to store in our back of our heart center, and also the back of our physical heart. So one thing I would do is try and send love, gratitude to your physical heart. Your physical heart, when that's happy, that can really help heal the rest of you too. So we are going to do something now called Christ Unwinding Technique. And this is a technique I developed with Yeshua Jesus a few years ago. And what it will do is help bring in some new empowering beliefs and clear the stuck emotional energy from your body. So it doesn't matter what religion you are, or whether you're an atheist, the Christ light is source energy, and it helps everybody. So if you just sit somewhere comfortable with your feet flat on the floor and your arms and legs uncrossed, and you're just going to say, I call on the Christ light to help me. And what you're going to do is you're going to see some sentences going across the inside of your forehead. So it works better if you can read your sentences rather than just imagine they're there. If you can't see the writing, then just keep telling your mind, okay, mind, it's safe for me to see my writing, it's safe for me to see my sentences. Because if you can't see them, it's because your mind doesn't think it's safe for you to do so. And it doesn't matter about your spelling, okay? It's your intention that counts. So don't worry if you can't spell very well. So your first sentence is going to be, it is safe for me to know my divinity. Just see it in writing across the inside of your forehead. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And then you're going to see your sentences. They're going to go up into your brain, and you're going to start to see them. Go left and right, up and down, back and forward, round and around. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. Seeing them go round and round and up and down and in and out. And then seeing your sentences start to spiral down through the center of your head. Filling your whole head, down through your head, down through your throat, down the center of your chest, reading them as they're going around. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. See them going down through the center of your belly. Center of your pelvis. And then you're just going to see your sentences spiraling out through the gap in between your legs. So they're going to spiral out of your pelvis and spiral down through the gap between your legs all the way to the floor. Reading them as they're going around. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And when they get to the floor, they can either go into the ground or shoot off into the distance, whatever you prefer. Then you're just going to see your sentences again. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And you're going to see your sentences come out. They're going to go up your left hand, up your left arm, over your left elbow, up your left arm. When they reach your left shoulder, they're going to spiral all the way across the top of your chest to your right shoulder. When they've got to your right shoulder, spiral them all the way back to your left. And then spiral them down the left side of your chest, reading them as they're going around. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. Seeing them go down the left side of your belly, left side of your pelvis, the left side of your, down your left leg, so going down your left thigh, reading your sentences. It is safe for me to know my divinity. Over your left knee, and then down your left calf. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. See them going over your left ankle and over your left foot, and then spiraling off into the distance or down into the ground. Then we're going to repeat that on the other side, so just seeing the sentences again. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And seeing your sentences come out and spiral up your right hand, up your right arm, over your right elbow, reading your sentences. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. When they reach your right shoulder, just spiral them across the top of your back to your left shoulder. And then back across to your right shoulder again. Spiral them down the right side of your chest. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. See them spiraling down the right side of your belly, right side of your pelvis, down your right thigh. I am divinely. It is safe for me to know my divinity, over your right knee. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And over your right ankle, over your right foot. See them spiraling off into the distance, or into the ground. And then just sing your sentences again. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And this time you see your sentences going outwards, and you just ask for them to be sent across all time and space, all universes, and all dimensions. And then lastly, you're just going to finish off by seeing the sentences go across your chest. So you can imagine them in beautiful white or gold letters and going across your chest. It is safe for me to know my divinity. I am enough, lovable, and divinely perfect, just as I am. And then we just finish off by thanking the Christ light. Now this technique you can use more than once a day if you want to, if you have time. Even just using it several times a week is going to be beneficial. You can bring in your own sentences. Just make sure they're in the positive and in the present tense. So I am worthy rather than I'm becoming worthy or I'm not unworthy. It's I am worthy. Now I've just got some other examples that you might want to use here. I am allowed to be free. I choose liberation and freedom. I am worthy and deserving of claiming my divinity. I am divine, God in human form. I am innocent and pure. I am responsible only for my own soul's growth. Guilt, shame, and fear are an illusion. Only love is real. I am a sovereign being. I claim my sovereignty. I am worthy and deserving of love, ease, joy, peace, abundance, full health and vitality. It is my birthright to have love, joy, ease, peace, abundance, full health and vitality. I now only develop and maintain healthy boundaries. I am enough just as I am. I am lovable just as I am. I am divinely perfect just as I am. Other people can take care of themselves. I am responsible only for my life. Obviously, if you have young children, you might not want to do that one because you are responsible for your young children. I am responsible for what I create. Okay, so I hope you found that useful. It really is worth the attempt to break out of martyrdom consciousness because you'll find your life a whole lot more pleasant if you do. Okay, much love and many blessings from my heart to yours.